Okay, should be starting any minute now. Let's see what's going on. Okay, now I'm on. Welcome to Vinci Eye App Live. We are continuing the last 7 videos, it seems like. I don't know, maybe it is. Hopefully we can finish this today so we can move on to something new. First thing I'm going to show you is all the tools that I'm going to be using. So first off with the pencils. Oh, let me see. I think I might have 2 sounds going on at once. Okay, so for the graphite pencils, I am using a 2H, an HB, a matte 6B, and a matte 14B. So if you don't have these pencils, if you have a pencil set, choose the hardest pencil you have. So H and the highest number that you have, that would be the hardest pencil you get. The medium pencil, which is the HB pencil, the darkest pencil that you have, and the pencil in between the medium pencil and the darkest pencil. So that's how you choose. 2 blending stumps, a small one and a medium-sized one. Also some toilet paper for blending larger areas, or tissue paper, whatever you have. Just don't use your hands. I have a mechanical pencil for smaller details, a electric eraser, mono eraser, which is a mechanical eraser, and a knead eraser. I also like to have a brush to brush off any pencil, like loose pencil shavings and eraser shavings as well. I am drawing an 11 by 14 inch 11 by 14 inch Bristol board on the smoothest side. Thank you so much. And then now we're going to go through the features of the Vinci Eye app. So if you don't have the app and would like to try it for free for a year, please contact me through charitylowsartdve at outlook.com, and I will give you a promo code for that. If you want to draw along, the pictures posted in the Vinci Eye app Facebook group, also on my personal Facebook page, which is Charity Lows Art. Or if you have the iOS, you can go into my profile, which is Charity Lows Art, and look at my inspiration photos that I posted, and you should be able to find it there. So first things first is you can move the drawing or the image to any size you want, any place you want. So good for seeing the layout before you actually draw. So enlarge it as far as you want, shrink it as far as you want. If you accidentally move it and you want it to be realigned, there is a reverse button. So just, oh. I think I did too much. It's okay. Oh wait, no, that's fine. I got it. It's good. It's just because I zoomed in. And then you could also, when the move is turned off, you can zoom in to find details. And then you can, if you need to, take your phone away, take a call, come back. The problems with this app I have is I have to pay. It's not one of the apps that you can just make and forget about it. We have to do updates on it. We have 24-hour 24-hour tech support, which is actually done by the developer himself. So it is like, I think it's $29.99 a year, which comes to less than $3 a month. But if you do want to try it for free for a year, just send me an email. My email is posted in the description. So the first thing I like to use is breakdown mode, and I have cut out off 5 steps, and about in the middle here, and we already did this step, I just want to show it again. So it'll give you step-by-step stencils. So you start off with your lighter shades, and then you layer on the darker and the darker. Sorry. So there you go. But we've already done that, and what it gives you is this bottom part right here when you're done. And then afterwards, I like to go into strobe, turn up the opacity to the fullest, so that way you can see your reference image and your drawing in real time, so you can play the game, spot the difference. So we're going to continue on where we left off. So just zooming into the section. I didn't finish this little square here, so we're going to continue that. And also I'm going to do the record because I want to post this on my social media platform. It doesn't do full-length videos, it's only time-lapse videos. So I'm taking the HB pencil and I'm just filling in the shapes, getting some darker shades in there. Just slowly building up and using circular motions. I think I am missing a little section. I'm going to move it over a little bit, because this part right here isn't dark enough, as I can already tell. So we're looking for the different shapes that are being created by the subtle shifts in the highlights and shadows. Hi Raven, welcome back. You're on time today. So there's a little bit of a gradual shift in the shadow and highlight here, so I'm going to do darker on the right side and do lighter pressure and circular motions on the other side. So just a little bit more pressure on the right and less pressure on the left. We're just playing spot the difference, and you get to decide. Oh, what happened here? The sound cut out for a second. So the goal is, for at least for me, I don't know if it's for you, is to try to make it so it's almost impossible to see the difference between your reference photo and your drawing. Just some circular motions and just slowly build up. You want to do them nice and tight circular motions because this is a very smooth surface that we are recreating. Thank you so much for the like. I really do appreciate it. I'm fairly new at doing these live videos, so I kind of want to get it to the point where it is a bit busier so we can have more conversations in the chat and answer some questions. Also, I am planning on making a little slideshow for our mid-video break, and what I want to do with that slideshow is show your artwork, even if it's not a reference photo that we've been working on, like a drawing that we've been working on together. I want to be able to show off your guys' artwork. Just redefining those circles a little bit. Okay, I think I'm gonna blend it out just to see where we're at using the toilet paper or paper towel. Okay, I'm still using the HB pencil. I'm gonna add a little bit more of a defining line between this little, I can't think of the word, crease, fold, one of those words. I think I'm almost to the point where I am satisfied with the larger bits of this dress. Like, yeah. Every time I draw a portrait, there's always something new that I'm learning because of the different textures. And just blending that out, I think we are done with like the larger section, and we can move on to did it cut out again? There we go. I'm not erasing all of it. I want it to have some shadow on the polka dots too, so that it gives it more of a 3D effect to it, which it is there. So we're just trying to get those really bright areas up with the Mono eraser. Just using my brush to get that those little pieces of eraser off without smudging. Okay, now we're going to take the knead eraser and we're going to, let me just show you here. I'm going to make a circle on the bottom of it, and we're going to just dab and lift. We're not sticking it on too much, just a little bit to pick it up and soften up the edges a bit. It's just a light tap. That's all it is. And now we're also going to work on those little tiny, like, they're polka dots, but they're pretty faded. We're just dabbing and lifting in the places in which I see them. So a little spot right here. Okay, I want to define some of these folds here. So I'm going to take the Mono eraser and just go over where that dark line is between the two and just make a white line just underneath that dark line. And then same right here. This one is just above, not underneath. And then this one is just on the right side. There's a little spot right there. Now we can move on to the next section. And there's a frog in my throat today. So we'll work on the bigger part of it, which is just the fabric, and then we'll do the details of the fabric later. So I'm gonna get some water. I've got Vinci Eye app on my phone, but I've not used it, not sure how to. So if you want me to, I can go through this in this bit here. Okay, I'll start with the beginning. So this is the iOS version. The only difference between the iOS and the Android is that they have a social platform on it. But that is going to change here soon, from what I understand. If you want to draw, like we have inspiration photos, this is the photo of the day. You can draw from that, or you can draw from your own if you have the full version. So you just press plus draw, and you get to select your photo. I'm using AR mode for my stuff. And then you want to lock focus. I have the anchor taped to the top on a clipboard, so that way when I'm doing my bigger projects, I can leave it for a day or two and then come back and it will stay aligned, which I'll show you that later. You press the move button and you can drag it anywhere you want. You can enlarge it. You can shrink it. I'll just leave this here. Then when the move button is off and it's black, you can zoom into the fine details. It will stay aligned. Or zoom out to see the whole picture. You can change the opacity to make it easier for you to see where you've drawn and where you still need to draw. Now, a bit more complicated if you want to do pictures like the one that I'm currently working on. I start off with breakdown mode. I just play around with the steps. The more steps you have, the more detailed the work. I like to take the cutout off when I'm doing pencil work. And you just work on the layers. There's the lighter areas, and then it gets darker as you go, just layering them up on each other. And that would leave you with something like this bottom part right here, which is just it's just a good base to the fine details. And then what I also like to do after that, I increase the opacity, turn on strobe, and then it will give you real-time comparison to your drawing and the reference photo. And what you're pretty much doing at this point is playing spot the difference, and you adjust it to match the shade of what you see or the color, depending on if you're doing a colored picture or not. So this is the step we are using. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to go into my projects here, and it will save. I'm also doing another drawing of him too, But you go into your projects, and then if you want to continue, you just click on it, lock focus, and it's already aligned and ready to go. And it's asking me if I want to continue my recording, which is awesome because I want to have some videos for my social media platforms. Okay, we were over here. So I like to just work on one square at a time. This way it makes it a lot less daunting to draw photorealistic art. Okay, I'm just gonna overlap this a bit. Okay, I'm using a HB pencil. I'm just going to slowly make it darker and darker, just adding layers until it gets to the point where I am satisfied with it. And I'm also going to trace. I'm not doing super dark lines. Trace around the polka dots so I can preserve them as best as possible. And then shade in around the areas, trying to match what I see on my reference photo. This is a time-consuming project, so be patient with yourself. It has been, I think, 7 episodes, I think. Let me see. No, this is part 8. So yeah, usually it takes me about 5 sessions with 2 hours, so 10 hours altogether to do black and white. And then for colored pieces, it usually takes me about 20 minutes with the 11 by 14 inch. I mean, not 20 minutes. Did I say 20 minutes? I mean 20 hours. So 10 hours for the 11 by 14 and 20 hours for 11 by 14 black and white. Sorry, I'm having a hard time. 11 by 14 black and white, 10 hours, and then 11 by 14 inch colored, 20 hours. There we go. I think I finally said that properly. It may take longer for if you're a beginner because you're learning. And when you're learning, it takes longer because you need to slow down to understand what you're doing. But then you'll speed up and get faster and also keep the quality at the same level or even better, hopefully better. I know I've gotten a lot better with a couple of years behind doing artwork. I've been doing artwork since I was really little. My mom was a portrait artist as well. She mostly did paintings. But I still, even though I am tracing, I am still learning, and I'm still getting better with my skills and being able to actually lay it down on paper. think I'm done that top part, so I'm going to work on the lower part, which is not as dark, just a little bit lighter. The whole dress, besides the polka dots, even though the polka dots they're very light gray, is a mid-tone gray. So we want to try to shade in all of it, just different darknesses. We do have a little bit of texture down here, but it's so tiny that I'm not too worried about it. It's just a tulle texture. But you can if you want to. It'll just take much longer than what I'm planning to do. So, yeah. So I am tracing the circles, just trying to preserve them a little bit more. But they are going to get smudged a little bit, which is fine. Like when we go to blend it, the graphite will go over top of it and make it a little bit darker, but that's okay. We're okay with that. So we're doing tight circular motions to make a nice smooth texture, nice smooth surface. I think the hardest part of this is really analyzing the picture and trying to find all the little details. I think that's the hardest part. I'm going to move this up ever so slightly. Forgot to turn the auto director on. At least you've been able to see what I'm doing. Okay, now I am just going to do very light pressure with circular motions, because we want it to be a bit darker for the majority of this area. They're darker than the polka dots. If you have the iOS version of this app, I'd really like to see your version of this drawing tagged in the reference photo that I posted up. So if you go into my profile through the iOS, which is charitylowsart, and go to the little light bulb, which is the inspiration section, go find my reference photo, and you should be able to add on just like the inspiration of the day photos. We're almost done with the base, with getting those folds, and then we can blend and then work on the polka dots. Okay, taking the toilet paper and wrapping it around your finger and just blending it, blending everywhere. This is soften it up, nice smooth texture, like the fabric. I think I'm gonna just tweak some of the darker areas and then we can move on to the polka dots. So still using the HB pencil. I think the HB pencil is gonna be my majority for pencils I use today. So things you're not seeing on the on my cameras is that I have it streaming to my TV that's just above me right here. This is just so it makes it easier to do larger pieces. Have the TV just above me streaming. I have been able to do like an 18 by 24 inch drawings with the Vinci Eye App, but they also have a sister app called Mural Maker for like the really big projects, but that uses 2 iOS devices. I'm just blending it again. I'm kind of sticking to the areas that I just added to, not really blending it everywhere. And now we're going to take the mono eraser and just sculpt out those polka dots. If you see any differences inside, like a little bit of shadow inside, just don't erase those areas. just the really bright sections. These polka dots on this side's pretty bright because that's where the sun's hitting it. Okay, rolling out a little section of the knead eraser. Let me see. And making it flatter. Let me just show you here. Rolling and then flat, and circular flat section. And then we're going to dab and lift. Not a lot of pressure into it, just quick, like a little soft touch. And we're going to get those really faded circles that are actually on the other side of the fabric. We're not directly looking at the polka dots. Just dab. And I think that's pretty good. And then I'm going to take the mono eraser and define those folds. And this one right here, I'm just going to pick up some with like just underneath that dark line that I made earlier. And then this one, also the same, just underneath the dark line. And same right here, just underneath. We don't want to erase the dark line, we just want it to be right against we just want it to be touching each other. We don't want to erase it. I think that's pretty good. I'm actually going to soften up the edges of the polka dots here by using the small blending stump. Just kind of doing a circle around it where those pencil marks are, so they're nice and soft. There we go. And then we're moving on to the next part. We're almost done doing the teddy bear. I want to work on the background and her hand before I start working on the dress. So I'm going to take the 6B pencil, which is the second darkest pencil you have. So it might not be 6B. This is a really cool pencil because it's matte. It doesn't have a shimmer to it. And we're just getting those really dark shapes and lines. I'm putting a lot of pressure in it. If it looks more of like a line, draw it as a line, but if it's a shape, draw circular motions. Okay, I'm going to use the HB pencil again. I'm going to create that dark shadow that's on the hand. Circular motions. You can put a little bit of pressure on it, just make it a little bit darker. Now I'm going to get that little crease that's between the palm and the thumb of the hand. It's a little darker, so I'm putting a little bit more pressure there. I want to do another thing that's, to me, sounds like fun. I want to open up the opportunity for people to send me their reference photos that they want done. Say if you want a custom piece of artwork, send it to me through my email, and then I will draw it, and I will mail the drawing to you with absolutely no charge. The only catch is that I would be drawing it live in these videos, and it might take a while because I only go live once a week for 2 hours, and they take me at the minimum 10 hours to do. So that's about a month, and that's if there's nobody else in front of you, which so far there's no requests right now, but yeah. Oh, and the other thing is they need to be royalty free, so I prefer it if it was like a family member of yours or your pet. It can't be anything fan art related, like what's behind me in my videos. I'm no longer doing fan art, by the way. So the bow has got, like, it's gradually getting lighter. It's really dark at the bottom, and then it just gradually gets lighter. So you put a little bit of tougher or harder pressure, and then just slowly get lighter and lighter as you move upwards. Soft pressure, circular motions to make it nice and smooth and easy to blend. Now my specialty is pencil work, but I'm also here to help you get started in any medium. We've already had a request to do another pastel piece, so that would be our next one. But yeah, you can request doing watercolor landscapes or pastel flowers, or it could be different subjects. But just letting you know, my specialty is pencil work and portraits, so people portraits or pet portraits, any animals really. And I do graphite pencil and colored pencil, but again, I'm here to help you get started with whatever you want to use. I've also done fabric painting too. There's also this other cool thing that I've tried, which is stained glass art paint, which is by Deco Art. I can show you how to do that as well. Anything that you see me post in the Facebook group or in my personal social media platforms, I can go and do that for my live videos. And some, because there's some stuff I haven't posted that I've done. So I'm just going to trace the circles to preserve them. And then we're going to work on the majority of the dress. If you guys have requests for the reference photos that you want me to do, like your family members and pet portraits and stuff, email me, and the subject be email me the picture subject, Da Vinci Eye live reference photo, and then also tell me what medium you want it to be in. If it wants to be, if you want to do colored pencil, graphite pencil, or any other medium, let me know. Ooh, another one that I've done is wood burning. I'm not a professional at wood burning, but it is an option. So just light circular motions, and we're going to slowly add the layers to make them darker. You want to do them nice and tight circular motions so it creates a softer, smooth surface. And then still try to keep your eye out for the different shapes that you can see with the subtle changes in the shadows. Adjust the pressure as accordingly to the intensity of the shadows. So now I'm just filling in the rest of those areas with very light pressure and tight circular motions, because the dress itself is not white. And just leaving the circles blank, which they are going to be there is going to be blending over top of that. Just making them, when you blend over top of it using what's around it, it gets a little darker, but that's good because then it gives it a little bit more depth when we get to doing more of the details. And then, so I just blended the dress. I'm going to take the small blending stump and blend the hand. And I'm putting a lot more pressure in the shadows and then lighter pressure as I go up. Okay, and with the fur, I'm kind of doing more lines in the direction of where they're going. And then this bow here, I'm going to use the circular motions for blending. And the darker spots, just do more pressure, and then just slowly do softer pressure as you go up. Then we're going to do a few little highlights for the fur, just a few little short strokes to create the texture. And then we're going to do a few little lines just above those, like just beside the dark lines, just to define it a little bit more. Make them pop out just ever so slightly. Okay, and I think I still want to add a little bit more to the dress, making it a little bit more darker, but it is the halfway point to our video. So we're going to take a 5-minute break and then I'll be back. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, stretch out your legs, and then I'll come back and you give me some questions and I will answer them. Okay, I am back. So this is a great time for a Q&A. If not, I will give you my background story. Okay, so I've been an artist, or at least been inspired to be an artist since I was really little, because my mother is an artist as well. So before even preschool, I would draw side by side with my mom, which wasn't great artwork, as 3-4-year-olds can do. And I took all the art classes I could in school, like in junior high and high school. There's been a few times where I felt like quitting because I wasn't as good as some other kids at the time who was doing art, so I felt like I wasn't being noticed. But my mom always encouraged me to continue because she saw potential in me. So after high school, I didn't take any art classes. I just did it as a hobby here and there while working a regular 9 to 5. It wasn't until 2019, when COVID was starting to get really bad. I lost my job as a healthcare aide because I have like a chronic sore throat, so I can't work because they thought it was COVID all the time, which was ridiculous to me. So I saw some people selling their portraits for a decent amount of money, and I was like, oh, I could do that, and I can do it cheaper. So I did that for a while during COVID, and it was really well. It went really well, and I found the Vinci Eye App, and it just sped up my process. And then I noticed that the Vinci Eye App was posting my artwork on their Instagram a lot. And I was telling my brother this, being like, felt so honored for them to post this kind of stuff in my artwork. And he said, well, maybe you should ask him for a job. And I said, well, I have nothing to lose. So I asked for a job, and it started off as being a small thing. During that time, COVID had subsided and it wasn't a big deal anymore. So I went back to my job that I had during that time. So I was doing full-time 9 to 5 and then this casually. And it wasn't until, I think, about 2 years ago, that I started doing this stuff full-time, working with them, doing various stuff. So mostly I do the advertisements for them and do 5-minute sketches for advertisements. And then I also do this. And I also am available to help you out anytime. Just find me on Facebook. And I'm willing to do one-on-one lessons with you, no extra charge. Like it's just free. Like not an issue whatsoever. So yeah. Yeah. Anyways, so again, don't hesitate to contact me if it's a drawing thing you want to figure out. If it's a tech support stuff, email them at info@davinciieapp.com, and they are pretty quick to respond to tech stuff. So yeah. Anyways, that's me rambling on and giving you my backstory of how I got here. And let's get started in continuing this drawing. And I really want to get it done today, but it looks like I might not get it done today. So, but maybe next session we can get it done. Let me just get this going. I want to make sure I'm recording because I want to have this posted in my personal platforms. I'm just adding a little bit more to it because it's not quite dark enough. My high school art teacher said if you want to do some really good black and white drawings, you need to have black, white, and at least 3 different shades of gray. So do not be afraid of putting in really dark black areas, like where that shadow is, where her hand meets the teddy bear. That's black, so make sure you draw in that. Gives it a nice contrast. Just keep on layering it a little bit at a time until you are satisfied, and then you can move on to the next. And you want to do tight circular motions, making it easier to create a nice smooth surface. And then I'm going to take the toilet paper and wrap it around my finger and just blend those areas, focusing on just those areas that I just added to. Also, feel free to ask questions during the live video. I am more than happy to chat or to answer questions. I'm almost at the point where I am satisfied with this. Almost. Still working on it. Now we're working on the polka dots. I'm going to trace the outlines of them first, and then we can do the rest in a minute. Okay, now we're going to erase the really bright sections, which is pretty much all of them. So I'm just going to go over it, all of them, because the light's hitting it directly. And then taking that brush and getting rid of those little pieces of eraser. The brush is great because it doesn't smudge your paper at all. I do want to have a little bit of an overlap of what we've already done. This will help prevent like lines that are being created that are accidentally being created by doing one section at a time. So we're just trying to blend it into the previous sections. Okay, I'm going to take the 6B pencil, which is the second darkest pencil I have. And I'm going to get those really, really dark sections, doing quite a bit of pressure for this. If it's more of a line, draw in a line. I like to try to stay away from doing direct like lines like this, so straight through. I like to do kind of like sketchy lines and little strokes following, so it softens up the edges a bit. That's just how I like to work. So it's quite a bit darker on this side because this is where the shadows are on the little girl in her dress. And then I'm just going to add, like, I'm going to do a little less pressure for some of the other areas that are still pretty dark, and circular motions. I'm not doing lines at this point. That hand is fairly dark, so I'm going to get that. The majority is fairly dark, and then I'm going to build up the shadows on either side of it to make it rounded. Okay, very, very light pressure. There is a seam that I can see from the bottom of the dress here. So just following that line. And I'm also going to do some of those really dark sections in the fake fur, the fur blanket. Just really short strokes. Not circular motions, these are lines, just very little lines. And then we're going to move on to the the HB, and we're going to do the rest. So really analyze what you're seeing with the reference photo. Try to find all those little differences and try to match it as best as you can. You're playing spot the difference. For the fur texture, just do a bunch of small little strokes, and it adds to the texture. You can do kind of scribbly lines if you want to help create that texture effect. Small circular motions, harder pressure for darker areas, and softer pressure for lighter areas. I think I'm going to start tracing out the polka dots so that I can preserve them a little bit better. There's one that you can only see half of. We've had one request already for the next drawing that we're going to do in these live videos, which is not the next live video, it would be the following one. I believe so, because yeah, I'm definitely not going to finish this today. So I have the medium that was requested, which is the pastel, but I don't have the image. I don't have a requested image for that. So if you want something in pastel, it's a good time to send me a picture for that. If not, I will choose something from Unsplash. If you have a subject you want to do but don't have an image yourself, just let me know. Kind of tracing out the very edge of this dress here, very lightly. The tight circular motions for the dress so that it stays nice and smooth, easier for blending. And then we're going to do the rest. Some lighter pressure, just to add a little bit more depth to it. The dress is not white, so we need to make it all gray, a medium toned gray. Going to blend out the hand and the dress. So I'm just doing some circular motions and going over the entire area. And then we're going to add some more to it where it's needed. I'm going to go back and use the 6B pencil again because there is some really dark areas that I would really like to emphasize a bit more. And we're going to do quite a bit of pressure with that. We're starting to get to the point where it's getting a little bit harder to tell the difference between the drawing and the reference photo. And that's what we want. The biggest secret of drawing anything is passion. If you don't have the desire or the passion to become a great artist, then you won't become a great artist because you won't be practicing, you won't be excited to learn something new. I'm just blending it out again, seeing where we're at. I think that's pretty good. I'm actually going to use the 14B because this is not quite getting as dark as I'd like it to be. And then I'm going to blend it with a little blending stump afterwards to kind of push it into the paper. The toilet paper or tissue paper will just kind of pick it up a bit, and we don't want that. So we're going to take the small blending stump here and just push that in, those areas. Okay, before I get into more details with the dress, I'm going to work on the fur. We're going to do like the majority. So there's a lighter section. We're not going to worry about the details, and then a little darker section, lighter and darker. So we're going to take the 2H pencil. We're going to do, you can do sketchy like lines, not circular motions with this, because we want to add texture to it. Kind of follow the direction of the fur, but we're not worrying about the details quite yet. So we're just doing the bigger sections. Like if you were to squint, you would do those subtle differences that you see when you squint. Okay, going with the HB pencil, and I'm going to get those darker sections. Still kind of doing more of a sketchy strokes, not circular motions with this, just for the texture. That's all I'm doing. That's the only reason. And then we're going to blend with the paper towel or toilet paper and tissue paper, whatever you have. The reason why you don't want to use your hands is because there's oils on your fingers, which will cause fingerprints to be permanently on your page, and you don't want that. Unless if you want that for your signature, and then whatever. I think it's actually really cool to use your fingerprint as your signature. But yeah. Just trying to decide what pencil I want to use. There's not a lot of dark areas of the fur, so I think I'm going to just use the HB pencil. And now, now we're doing the little details. If you are good at mimicking the texture of fur to make it look real, then you go ahead. You don't have to copy this exactly. You still don't have to copy this exactly. Just get like those ones that really stand out, those little shapes and lines that really stand out. When it comes to texture, it's more of like an abstract approach. So lighter pressure for those little light sections, and then darker pressure, or harder pressure for the dark. I think we're almost done adding those darker textures here. So we're going to blend it. I'm using the small blending stump and just blending in the direction of the fur, still kind of using that sketchy motion, short lines, and just going over what I just put down. Now there is going to be some extra graphite on this, so we can just use that to add a little bit more in some sections. There's a bit more shadow here, so I'm just going to use the blending stump to just add that, because there's, again, extra graphite on that. And using the mono eraser, I'm going to just catch some of those little highlighted areas, little brighter areas. And just small little lines again. These ones are a little bit farther apart, so you're not doing concentrated areas. We got the fur done. We're going to go back to the dress. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm still going to take the mono eraser and I'm going to get those little highlighted edges. And I'm not going over the dark lines, just beside it, because I want those dark lines there too. Now we're going to work on the little polka dots, and we're just getting the really bright areas, leaving the shadowed parts of the circles for a little later. Okay, now rolling out the side of the knead eraser and flattening out so there's a little circle, we're going to dab very lightly and just lightly pick it up in some areas. We're mostly focusing on the polka dots. If there's a few little areas that are just a little bit too dark, you can do the same. Just dab and lightly pick up. Okay, this is a seam hem around. So I'm taking the 2H pencil. I'm just trying to outline that a little bit more to make it more noticeable of what that is, what we're looking at. Now we're moving on again to a new section. I think that looks fine. Using the 6B, and let's get those really dark sections. I'm doing quite a bit of pressure with some really tight circular motions. There's this really dark area that it's got a smooth edge on one side and then the fur kind of overlaps it. So let's try to preserve where that white fur is going to be. So I'm just tracing the entire shape and then I can fill it in later. And then we just fill it in with tight circular motions with quite a bit of pressure because this is pretty dark. And with a little bit of lighter pressure, we're still using the 6B pencil. We're going to get those dark areas. They're not quite black. They're just really dark gray. And tight circular motions. Again, not as much pressure as we just did for like practically the black areas. So I like to trace out the shapes that I see and then fill it in. That's how I like to work. Sometimes I see like the bigger shapes, and then once I start outlining those areas, I see the smaller shapes within the shapes I just originally saw. Don't be afraid of getting really dark. You need black and white and at least 3 different shades of gray to make a really good photorealistic drawing. Okay, now I'm going to go and use the HB pencil for the rest of this. I'm going to outline the circles so that I can preserve them. They are quite, actually, don't really need to preserve them, but I am going to outline them anyway so I know where they're at. And then I'm going to shade it in. They're very similar to the same shade as the dress in this section. So tight circular motions. I'm not putting a ton of pressure on this. I am going to outline this crease here. And we're just filling it in. If you still see some shapes, then add those shapes. There is a little bit of fur just kind of looking through the background of this, like underneath the skirt. So we can add a little bit more texture there. But for the most part in this section, we're just doing some tight circular motions. Another tip is like, you don't want to use the tip of your pencil, especially when it's really sharp. You want to use the edge, as much as the edge as you can. Then I'm going to blend to see where we're at with the toilet paper wrapped around my finger. And I'm just blending in the whole section. Please, please, please don't use your bare finger to blend. It leaves oils that make it impossible to erase things. And just looking, trying to see what I need to do to adjust stuff. I'm sorry. I need a cup of coffee. How many people yawned? I just want to define some areas a bit. So my challenge, something that's a new challenge for me in this particular drawing is sheer fabric, because this has got a sheer fabric over top of the over top of something that's not see-through at the bottom. And then another challenge, which is not too bad actually. No, I've done fur before. So I'm just taking my time trying to find those little details. And then it comes together if you just take your time. one of the reasons why I didn't get recognized in high school for my artwork is because I was going through it too fast. I was a quantity over quality type mindset. Um, a quantity over quality. Is that what I said? Because that's what I meant. And my art became increasingly better just by slowing down. I started off being like, okay, I used to take me like 3 hours to do a portrait, which wasn't a great portrait. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to add more time to it and slowly just increase my time. And then it got better and better. And then once I got better, then I was able to speed up again, where the quality remained, but um, did the volume go out again? It's almost lunchtime for me. What are you guys gonna have for lunch, or what have you guys had for lunch, depending on what time frame you're in? So it's probably going to take another video or two. I'm hoping, like another live video or two. I'm hoping it will get done next week. We'll see. But for the next drawing that we're going to do here soon is going to be a pastel drawing. I do not have a reference picked out yet. So if you want a personalized portrait of your family or pet, I am more than happy to do that, and I will also send you the original through mail with no charge whatsoever. Or if you just have a request on the type of subject we want to do, so for example, portraits, landscapes, still life, we just let me know what you want to draw with the pastels, and I will find an image for that. Any drawings that we do, any drawings that we do here, especially like ones that are requested, like family portraits or even just the subject, I am more than happy to give you the original for the people who have asked for them. So anybody who requested this certain stuff gets the opportunity to get it. So I'm going to blend this again with the toilet paper. And then I'm going to take my mono eraser. I'm going to do little highlights underneath the shadows on the top fold here, just to define that a bit more. And then same with these little creases here. Anyways, if you want to try the app for free for a year, you send me an email at charitylowsartdve@outlook.com, which the email is in the description. And I will give you a promo code. And again, you send me what you guys want me to do. I am here to help you get started in your art journey. So yeah, just thank you so much for all the support. It's been a pretty good day. Got 3 people talking to me. Yeah, you guys have a wonderful day.